The recovery of bald eagles has come a long way. From a low of 2 to 3 nests in the late 70s, we have probably over 300 nests at this point. I say probably simply because we have so many eagles that it's a challenge to keep track of them all. It's a great problem. With that said, as the numbers increase, the chances of negative human interactions and problems associated with humans, they become magnified just as that population grows. With increasing eagle numbers, one of the challenges that's become obvious is lead poisoning. Poisoning in general can be done on purpose, or it can be simply a consequence of people interacting with the environment around them. And lead definitely seems to fall in that category. Lead's an easy metal to use, and people have used it for all variety of things. But because we use lead a lot, we tend to leave a lot of lead behind in the environment. And that lead's very dangerous for eagles, and will in fact kill them when the levels get high enough.
So one of the questions we frequently get is where eagles are acquiring the lead that they are ingesting through the poisoning. Lead toxicity does not occur when the animals are shot or have lead that is embedded in their muscle tissue. They actually need to acquire it through ingestion. Once lead hits their stomach, in that acidic environment, it is absorbed into their body and goes to different tissues. There's been a variety of research to look into what sources of lead exist that the eagles may be ingesting, and existing data suggests that they're getting it from carcasses left out in the field. This could be gut piles left in the field. It could be carcasses of animals that were shot and not retrieved, whether that's varmint hunting, small game, things like that, or it could be animals that are shot and just never found. And the eagles then acquire the lead by ingesting those tissues of those carcasses and inadvertently picking up the lead. So the way lead creates toxicity is once it's ingested and it hits that acidic stomach, it is absorbed into the blood and then distributes to a variety of different tissues in the body. Lead can have an effect and a negative impact on a variety of different bodily functions. And it affects a variety of different organ systems, the nervous system, the musculoskeletal system, the function of the liver, as well as the creation of blood products. When we see an animal that is poisoned by lead, it's got very dramatic signs. Often the eagle is emaciated. It's a very poor nutritional condition. It often can't move, it cannot fly or even walk. It can have seizures or neurologic signs and often may appear blind. You can frequently walk right up to an eagle that is affected by lead poisoning and it may not even know you're there. The disease can take a variable amount of time depending on how much lead they ingest, but often we're looking at a duration of a couple weeks, and often the birds that we see have been affected long enough that they are emaciated. So if you feel their chest and their breast muscle, they are emaciated and you really don't see much muscle there. So one of the things we frequently are asked are what role can hunters have in trying to reduce the lead toxicity we see specifically in our avian scavengers. There are a variety of methods that we can employ that hunters can do to try and reduce toxicity in our scavengers. Basically the goal is to prevent lead from moving into those non-target species and our scavengers ingesting the lead. There are a whole host of non-lead sources of ammunition as well as fishing tackle. Historically, they have been hard to come by and not all types of ammunition are available, and they've been quite expensive. They are non-lead sources of ammunition and tackle are much more widely available in most forms of ammunition, and the performance as well as cost of that ammunition is becoming much better. So there is that where you can actually use alternate sources of ammunition. Then the lead is not in the carcasses or gut piles or tissues for those avian scavengers to ingest. If lead is used, there are still a variety of things we can do to prevent it from getting into avian scavengers. We can make sure we're retrieving our carcasses, gut piles, or entire carcasses and getting them out of the field. If we cannot get them out of the field, such as a large gut pile or a large carcass, then we can try and do everything we can to reduce them from being ingested through an avian scavenger. That could be burying those tissues, if that's feasible. If it's winter and the ground is frozen, then covering them in debris to make sure as best as possible that an avian scavenger overhead is not able to find those carcasses and go down and feed upon it. So there again are a variety of things that hunters can do to help us reduce lead toxicity in our scavengers, and I think we feel good and are excited to get hunters invested in the management of this disease.